Hi guys, today here. Welcome to my YouTube channel where I review African literature. On my video today, I'm going to be showing you part 1 of my book haul, if I should say. These are actually books I've had for like a long time. Like some of them are like 3 years old and I've bought them, read maybe the first page, maybe halfway, and then I was like, okay, maybe later, because I'm a mood reader. So I kind of have this thing of like reading a book halfway, and then if I'm not really feeling it, I leave it. So today I am going to be showing you guys some of the books in my library, and if you're inspired to buy one of them or talk about them or maybe encourage me to keep reading them, I will be super grateful. And yeah, I hope you guys are going to get something from this video. If not, thank you so much for watching. Let's get into the video.
That's suspicious. That's weird.
So number 1 is Zenzele, and this is by Nozipo Maraire. And this book is a letter. It's when the woman in the book, she's writing a letter to her daughter. So I'll read the back just to give you guys the synopsis of the book. And it reads, "So begins an extraordinary letter and legacy from a Zimbabwean woman to her beloved daughter, a student at Harvard, interweaving history and memories in the tradition of the village storyteller. A mother bears a soul in parables from her own past that parallels Zimbabwe's struggle for independence. In this moving, often humorous novel, she tells of her own evolution, of her sister and cousin, a guerrilla fighter and a spy, and of how she met and married Zenzele's father, a firebrand activist lawyer. With each story comes a revolution of character, conflict, principle, prejudice, love, and transcendence. To a daughter who has rejected tradition for the freedom and opportunity of Western culture, it is a call to roots, to the heritage that has given her the character and gifts she now shares with the world, and to the extended family that is her own most powerful resource and Africa's greatest treasure." So I remember reading this book, and I think I didn't even get halfway, and it's a good book. I don't really remember why I stopped reading it. It was not because it was boring or because my mood switched, because it kind of has this tempo where you kind of want to keep knowing what's happening next. So I think I'm going to put this on the side because I'm currently reading another book which I bought. Yes, I know I'm not supposed to be buying books, because look at this. This is like part 1. I think they're going to be like 4 parts of this. So yeah, this one definitely recommend. From what I've read so far, it kind of has that tempo where you kind of understand what's going on in the story. So if you're someone who's looking into starting African literature, starting to read African literature, that is, I definitely recommend this. You'll be able to understand. It's very easy. Even the diction is quite straightforward. It doesn't have like, hidden meanings, which are very deep. Even though it's told in parables, the parables, they're quite easy to understand. So highly recommend this for you, for myself. Again, book number 2, it's The Deep Blue Between. This one I'm actually more than halfway, so I did a great job, and it's by Ayesha, Harruna, Attah. And I think she has a couple of books. I'm sure I read one of her other books, or is it the one which just came out, or maybe I was looking at something and she has a book which is coming out, which I think I read but I did not. But anyway, I'm sure she has another book coming out, and this book actually inspired me to kind of write something that is in the works. In a way, I was really inspired by this book, how it kind of like so the book, just to give you the background from what I've read, it talks about two twin sisters, and they are from Ghana. Yes, before it was Ghana, obviously, because this is when during slave trade, and the two sisters are separated. The other one remains in West Africa, and then the other one goes to Brazil. But these two sisters, they have a special connection, so it's like telepathy, but in this context, or in this story rather, it's more of they connect through dreams. And it's actually one of the sisters who has the ability to see where his sister is through dreams. So she kind of has this gift that she has where she's able to look at where her sister is, but because they're like an ocean apart, it kind of takes her time, and she goes into slavery. She's introduced to Christianity, which for her it's a very new concept because she was from West Africa way before Christianity, and it took her a lot to actually get to understand Christianity because she didn't understand it, because she already had her own religion which she was devoted to, and then having to learn about Christianity, it made her have to kind of forget about her culture and all of that. So she's kind of in turmoil when it comes to that aspect. And for me, it actually like raised a couple of questions, because some of these books, like when you read African literature, I'll say more of this when I talk about Under the Udala Tree. It really made me question a lot about religion, what exactly is being said, what is exactly being done, and how we interpret it as individuals, but that's for another day. But in this book, it talks about the twin sisters, and I got halfway. The other one is in Brazil, and then she's also introduced to the culture, you know, the religion, and then she meets a guy. And yeah, that's where I am right now. So highly recommend if you're looking for something different, because I didn't even know that other people from West Africa were taken to Brazil. I think that also explains why we can't have similarities when it comes to culture. Like certain things are familiar in Africa and when it comes to Brazil. So that was actually quite eye-opening for me, and I think I did a bit of research to kind of see what exactly was happening when people from Brazil, people from West Africa were actually being taken to Brazil, and what exactly was happening. So highly recommend if you need something outside of the box, you know, a different take on slave trade, because we usually read about the Americas, like how people were being, you know, traded to go to America or to Britain, but this one was kind of different. So yeah. Book number 3, this is one of my favorite. I've actually made progress with this one, and it's called Straight from the Horse's Mouth, and it's from Meryme Alaoui, and she's from Morocco. And I love this book. It was actually translated to English by Emma Ramadan, and this book actually I've been able to like keep track of where I've left, so I'm able to like carry on even after a few months after I've read it, left it, come back again. I'm able to remember what exactly I've read about. So this book, just to give you a glimpse, is about a 34-year-old prostitute, Jamia, who reflects on the bustling world around her with a brutal honesty, but also a quick wit that cuts through the drudgery. Like many of the women in her working class Casablanca neighborhood, Jamia struggles to earn enough money to support herself and her family, often including the deadbeat husband who walked out of her and their young daughter. While she doesn't despair about her profession like her roommate Halima, she reads the Quran between clients. She still has to maintain a delicate balance between her reality and the respectable one she paints for her own more conservative mother. The daily grind is interrupted by the arrival of an aspiring young director, Chadlia, whom Jamia takes the calling Horsemouth. Chadlia enlists Jamia's help on a film project, initially just to make sure the plot and dialogue are enthusiastic, but when she's unable to find an actress who's right for the starring role, she turns around to Jamia, giving the latter an incredible opportunity for a better life. In her breakout debut novel, Meryme Alaoui creates a vibrant picture of the day-to-day challenges faced by working people in Casablanca, which they meet head-on with resourcefulness and resilience. So, like I said, enjoyed this book, still going to, and it's about prostitution in Morocco and how, you know, these Muslim women, they had to hide, you know, run away from the police, but it was the only means of, you know, finding money. And it's a very funny book. It's not like poverty porn, or, you know, you kind of have to feel bad for them. What they're going through is so bad, but there's a lot of humor in it. Sometimes you're able to like see through it, over it, and kind of enjoy it. I find the character to be very funny. She doesn't take life very seriously, even though when she's going through the most, she kind of has this thing of making it lighter. So I really enjoyed this. This was actually one of my first books from Morocco, because with African literature you have to explore the whole of Africa, and I've been looking for books from Chad, from Libya. I'm still looking for them because I still have to do the ABCD kind of thing, and I think I'm still on B, so I kind of need a C. But yeah, this one, highly recommended if you're looking for something witty, something different, something to challenge your morals. Go for this. 3 is The Shadow King. So The Shadow King is by Maaza Mengitse. I hope I've said that correctly. And I've tried to read this book twice, but because my mind was not engaging, I kind of have to go back and forth. But I remember I started it like 2 weeks ago, and I think I'm almost in chapter 2, which is not a lot of progress, but I did something. And just to give you guys a background, so this book takes place in Ethiopia 1935, and the synopsis reads, with the threat of Mussolini's army looming, recently orphaned Harruna struggles to adapt to a new life as a maid. Her new employer, an officer in Emperor Haile Selassie's army, rushes to mobilize his strongest man before the Italians invade. Harruna and the other women long to do more than care for the wounded and bury the dead. When the emperor goes into exile and Ethiopia quickly loses hope, it is Harruna who offers a plan to maintain morale. But how could she have predicted her own personal war? My own personal war is still to come as a prisoner of one of Italy's most vicious officers. So again, this is a different take when it comes to slave trade. I have heard about the Ethiopians invading African countries. I'm sorry, I hate when people say Africa as certain countries in Africa. But mainly we hear about the British and the Americans. And it's actually quite eye-opening because, side note, so I went to the Trevor Noah concert, right? And he was talking about how people only always remember about the British colonizing Africa. Most African countries, not of the whole of Africa, sorry. And he was saying the reason why we've forgotten about countries like Spain, like Italy, like Belgium, all of those countries when it comes to slavery is because of their food. Is because now we always know them about the food because they were able to compensate in a way. It's a joke. Compensate in a way with food, and the British failed with that because their menu kind of sucks. Like, they don't have amazing food. The Italians, they have pasta. I'm obsessed with pasta. The Spanish, they have so many things. I can't even think of one at the moment, but they have a lot. The Spanish omelette. And the Belgians, there's chocolate and there's the waffles. So I think we kind of forgot in a way about them. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm terrible at telling these jokes, but I'm sure Trevor Noah did a pretty good job with it, but don't mind me. But yeah, that's what this book is about. And it kind of has a serious tone to it. Obviously, as you heard, it's about a shadow king. I think Harruna is the woman who was behind it, so she kind of had to impose morale when the war was going on and that kind of thing. So it's kind of a very serious read if you want something a bit serious that makes you think, research obviously about what was happening in Ethiopia 1935. And yeah, I hope you enjoy it. I'm looking forward to rereading it again for the 3rd time. Number 5, Kintu, and this is by Jennifer Makumbi, and this was my first experience with Jennifer and I loved it. I actually bookmarked it. Sometimes I forget to bookmark things. Sometimes I put random things like money, like food wrappers, like sweet wrappers and stuff, but I'm glad I remembered to really bookmark on this one. So Kintu was my first experience with Jennifer Makumbi, and I enjoyed it because it kind of has like a flashback thing where you go back come back, go back and come back. So you kind of have to concentrate. And to give you guys a synopsis of the book, it reads, in this epic tale of fate, fortune and legacy, Jennifer Makumbi vibrantly brings to life this corner of Africa and this colorful family as she reimagines the history of Uganda through the cursed bloodline of the Kintu clan. The year is 1750. Kintu Kida sets out for the capital to pledge allegiance to the new leader of the Buganda kingdom. Along the way, he unleashes a curse that will plague his family for generations. Blending oral tradition, myth, folktale, and history, Makumbi weaves together the story of Kintu's descendants as they seek to break free from the burden of their past to produce a majestic tale of clan and country, a modern classic. So I remember a while back, because I have this thing when I'm reading a book, I kind of want to know more about the author. So I go on YouTube, I stalk them, everything they say. It might not even be about the book, but something about themselves, or really the process of them, writing the book. Super interested in that. And I remember when I was watching the video about Kintu, she was saying that this book was actually a bit controversial because I think she brought in something to do with homosexuality when it came to the Kintu, how it was actually accepted before, the Europeans came. And it was a very, very interesting discussion because people were like, oh, it never existed before. So it was quite interesting to see it from that take. And also, after doing a lot of research, it appears it was something that was done like years ago. So I was very interested to know, because most books now in African literature, even when it comes to stories about like back in the AD age, they kind of talk about that so much. So yeah, that was quite interesting because I had never been exposed to that when it came to African literature, and because I like knowing stuff, I had to do my own research, because I also think it's very interesting to to do your own research on the side, to see if you fully understand where the writer is coming from. You don't necessarily have to fully understand, or if you don't want to, okay? But I think for me, it's very important for me, whenever I read a book, I do this thing of stalking like the writers. I think I even follow them on social media, that kind of thing, because I get so engrossed. But yeah, that was the major topic when it came to Kintu. And I remember there was another South African writer, I'm forgetting her name now, but she had one of her story where she was also talking about the same thing. So it was like a discussion with Jennifer, that writer, I'm forgetting her name, and then there was also No Violet Flower You There. So it was quite interesting. Book number 6, it's Akata Witch by Nnedi Okorafor. It's also called, in other parts of the world, mostly West Africa, How Sunny Stole the Sun. So I understand they had to change the title because obviously the word witch, when it comes to Africans, it's a bad word, okay? So they kind of had to change the word, but in other parts of the world, they had to change the title, sorry, not the word, but in other parts of the world, it's called Akata Witch. So Akata Witch, it's more of, I wouldn't say fantasy. I'm forgetting the genre that author classed it in because she doesn't want it to be called Afrofuturism. She doesn't want that. So I will look that up and I'll let you guys know when I talk about her other book, because she kind of writes in the same realm, if I should say. So the synopsis goes, Sunny Nwazue lives in Nigeria, but she was born in New York City. Her features are West African, but she's albino. She's a terrific athlete, but can't go out into the sun to play soccer. There seems to be no place where she fits in, and then she discovers something amazing. She is a free agent with latent magical powers, and she has a lot of catching up to do. Soon, she's part of a quartet of magic students studying the visible and invisible, learning to change reality. But just as she's finding her footing, Sunny and the friends are asked by the magical authorities to help track down a career criminal who knows magic too. Will their training be enough to help them against a threat whose powers greatly outnumber this. So this was actually my first experience with like fantasy, Afrolit fantasy, and I really enjoyed it. I don't remember where I ended because I'm so against folding pages. Like, I don't like it, so sometimes I just close the book if I don't have anything to hold it with. But I know if I go through the chapters, I'll find where I last read, so fingers crossed I do. But yeah, this is more of a young adult, pre-teen, I would say pre-teen, because it's very straightforward. It's more of fun, it's more of adventure, and it will not teach your children witchcraft. People used to say that, you know, it's like Harry Potter, African literature Harry Potter, and she was like, no, it's not like Harry Potter, it's my own. It's Akata, which is about Sunny. It has nothing to do with Hogwarts or any of that. So yeah, it's really interesting to see like this kind of stories. It's more like in the same realm as the Children of Blood and Bone. So yeah, I think for me now, African fantasy is kind of my favorite genre because it allows you to dream, it allows you to think outside the box. There are no rules to this, you know, you kind of like, you know. And I'm also reading The Ray Bearer right now, and I'm loving it because it's also in the kind of like same realm where you have different kingdoms, there are people with superpowers, you know, and it's not something that is, you know, looked down upon. But when it comes to literature, I kind of find like this freedom, you know. So I really enjoyed this. I'm going to go back to it so that I kind of like get to know, so that I'm prepared for the next one, because the other one, it's called Akata Warrior, so it actually has a sequel to it. So yeah, highly recommend this. And that's part one of my book haul. And because I wanted to go around Africa, I decided to like choose books from different African countries. So we have Zimbabwe, we have Ghana, we have Ethiopia, we have Uganda, we have Morocco, and we have Nigeria. And next week, for my next video, if I'm not reviewing a book, I'll definitely try and, you know, bring other books from other countries, because there are a lot of them, guys. There is a reason why I stopped buying books, because I know there are so many of them, and, you know, it's a disease, you know, because buying books and actually reading them, they're two completely different things. But I hope I'm not the only person who does this. So I'm going to dedicate 2022 to reading all of these books. Yeah, I am going to try. I say try, but yeah. Thank you so much, you guys, for watching this video. As you can tell, I think I'm a bit over, yeah, because I haven't recorded in a while. So I kind of have this thing, after when I start to recording again, I'm a bit weird, but with time, I'll go back to being professional. So until next time, guys, thank you so much for watching, and bye.